Good morning, Cowboys, and welcome to our first on-campus show and our first show in our brand new studio. I'm Patrick Hunter, and I'll be your host. This morning, we hope you had a great weekend for those who came on the campus. We are excited to see all of you in person. Coming up on today's show, we have this week's weather forecast, a highlight for Women's History Month, and a look into environmental impacts of coronavirus. Today is Monday, March 29th, and Canyon News Network starts right now. Welcome back. With this being our first show back on campus, there are many changes including transportation schedules for students who can't ride the bus to school. The city had just announced their updated schedule to help this morning and afternoon school's needs. If you need to check out the schedule, please check the bulletin on the school website. The bus schedule is not the only thing changing. Let's head over to this week's weather reporter.
Hey Cowboys, I'm Cadence with this week's weather forecast. This week we'll have warmer temperatures than the past few weeks. Today will be sunny with a high of 84 and a low of 54. Tomorrow and Wednesday will be windy with highs of 79 and 81 and lows of 57 and 55. Thursday and Friday will both be sunny with highs of 84 and 82. Saturday will be partly cloudy and 79 degrees. Finally, Sunday will be sunny and 72. That's all from me. Now back to you.
While the weather is warming up, we want to stop and take a moment and consider how these past years at home has affected our environment. Our CNN reporter, Marissa Anderson, has a report.
While COVID-19 changed the world in a negative connotation, it also had some positive light with new research and analysis. As stay-at-home orders were implemented about 1 year ago, the world saw a decrease in pollution due to the stay-at-home orders. We visibly saw clearer skies and even clearer waters like in Venice, Italy. Mr. Young, Canyon High's AP Environmental Science teacher, suggests that the COVID pandemic offered insight on the severity of our actions towards the planet.
With the reduced transportation and stay-at-home orders, we're able to see, clearer skies, less pollution, right? The water's cleaner, less polluted. And so this gives us a glimpse of what the environment, the world, the planet could look like if we take good care of it and be more mindful of our impacts on the environment.
The National Center for Biotechnology Information analyzes the pandemic situation significantly improves air quality in different cities across the world, reduces GHG's emissions, and more. This clean air is vital as the respiratory disease COVID roams the earth.
If the air is polluted, then you might be more at risk of having chronic diseases, respiratory diseases, which then can exacerbate symptoms, increase fatality as well, when one were to be infected with diseases like coronavirus.
While the pandemic offered a slight sigh of relief for the environment, our ecosystems face yet another burden with improper disposal of PPE like masks and face shields.
We don't have the proper infrastructure to recycle or reuse them. So unfortunately, they all have to just go into the regular bin. And one hope is that nobody litters, out on the street. It then gets into the waterways and pollute the ocean and affect the marine system.
Student environmentalist Kristen Nover offers her insight into a solution.
There are literally trash cans everywhere. And if wherever you are at the time does not have a trash can accessible, then you can just hold onto your mask until you get home or find a trash can. Like there's no need to be throwing masks in parking lots or like on the streets or wherever you are. And then also to avoid the problem altogether, reusable masks help keep the use of single-use products low and like reduce the daily trash accumulation.
She explains that despite facing a difficult situation, humanity should always work together to create solutions for the environment.
Concerns about the environment should always be relevant because it's like the place we live. We only have one. If the environment like gets so heavily polluted as we all will be stuck, like there's no plan B or other planet we can go live on.
For Canyon News Network, I'm Marissa Anderson.
While this past year has felt like a decade itself, we are now in the final 10 weeks of school. Seniors, that means that the college is right around the corner. If you plan on attending COC next year, Be sure to attend a free application workshop on Tuesday and Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. For the link on how to attend, please see the Canyon Bulletin on the Canyon website. While many seniors are looking ahead to college, we have lots of Canyon seniors as well as underclassmen in the action this week for this sports. Let's throw it over to Brandon for a look at Cowboy sports.
Thanks, Patrick. Well, if you thought last week was jam-packed with sports, this week adds boys golf and boys tennis into the mix. Hold on, Cowboys, this week's sports report is going to be a wild ride. Boys varsity tennis is starting off their spring season today with matches at home against Valencia. Our guys also play on Wednesday at Saugus. Both day matches start at 3 p.m. Girls tennis is also playing this week. They play against Hart tomorrow at home, keeping the home court advantage Thursday against the Grizzlies. Boys JV golf tees off this week. They have their second league match away tomorrow starting at 1 p.m. Boys and girls soccer continue league matches this week. First, boys JV and Frosh are away tomorrow at Castaic, Frosh at 1:30 and JV at 3:15. The boys continue their road later this week with games against Hart on Thursday. Girls soccer has 2 sets of home games this week. They take on Castaic tomorrow, Frosh at 1:30 and JV at 3:15. They finish up on Thursday with matches against Hart. Moving to some of our spring sports, baseball is opening up the league this. Okay, sorry. Moving to some of our spring sports, baseball is opening up league play this week with games against Valencia tomorrow. Varsity will be home while JV is on the road against the Vikings. They will then switch venues on Thursday with rematches against Valencia. While our varsity basketball teams aren't in action yet, both girls and boys JV hoops are back on the court. Girls play tomorrow and Thursday at home against August. Boys basketball is running 2 JV teams this year. Both teams play at home this Thursday. JV1 takes on Saugus while JV2 tips off against Hart. Well, Cowboys, I hope you were able to follow along with me. That's all for me. Back to you, Patrick.
Thanks, Brandon. This is definitely no lack of action this week when it comes to athletic teams. Finally, today, we want to close out our month of highlighting women with one U.S. Congressman from Hawaii. Here's Mayan with more.
In light of recent events targeted towards Asians and to conclude Women's History Month, we wanted to highlight one Asian American politician who made history throughout her career. Patsy Mink was the first Asian American female elected into the U.S. House of Representatives and the first Asian American woman to serve in Congress. In addition to these groundbreaking accomplishments, she is known for writing Title IX, the Early Childhood Education Act, and the Women's Educational Equity Act. She was also the first East Asian American to run for president in 1972, building a large resume in a short amount of time. Mink's journey to success started in Hawaii. She attended Maui High School in 1944, and she was crowned valedictorian. She then went on to Wilson College in Pennsylvania and the University of Nebraska, but after facing racial discrimination, she moved back to Honolulu, Hawaii, where she then hoped to pursue a career as a doctor. Although obtaining degrees in zoology and chemistry, her applications to multiple different schools were not accepted because she was a woman of color. She then went on to study law, where she succeeded, but no one would hire her. Since no one would hire her, Mink decided to create the Young Democrats of Hawaii, and she was the first Japanese American to study law in her home state. As soon as Hawaii became a state in 1959, she immediately got to work in politics. In 1962, she won a seat in the Hawaii State Senate, and in 1964, she won a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives, officially making her the first Asian American woman to serve in Congress. Mink fought for racial and gender equality, along with affordable childcare, bilingual education, and authorized Title IX. While in Congress, Mink also served in multiple committees and traveled back to Hawaii every week to help support the Hawaiian people. In 1974, she introduced the Women's Educational Equity Act, promoting gender equality within education. Mink was asked by her party to run for president, and she was very attracted to the anti-war movement. Although losing, she remained very vocal and active in politics. She served 6 terms in the House and formed the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. In November of 2002, Patsy Mink passed away due to pneumonia. After her death, the Title IX law was renamed to Patsy T. Mink Equal Opportunity in Education Act in honor of her astonishing work in politics. Patsy Mink's work left a monumental impact on women and Asian Americans, and even today her impact still remains. Well, that's all for me. Reporting for Canyon News Network, I'm Mayan Mawas.
Well, that's it for today's show. This Wednesday is National Pancake Day, so be sure to treat yourselves, Cowboys. Have a fantastic first day back on campus, Cohort A, and we'll be seeing Cohort B on Friday.